Hello everyone, welcome back to a new video. Earlier this month we got a new devlog. The devlog was brief and simple. It basically focused on short-term updates and features coming to the game, such as Biomes system, Rex gameplay, emotes, proximity chat and more. But what really caught my attention was the mention of next region coming to Subnautica 2, the home of Collector Leviathan. And in this video I'm mostly going to talk about it, speculate on everything this new region could offer, where it might be located, how deep it would be and what new creatures and resources we may find there. So first, let's just start by asking the obvious question here. Where is the home of the Collector Leviathan? If you have been following Subnautica 2 news for a while, this isn't actually the first time we have heard about this. It was first mentioned during a Q&A video where Anthony himself revealed that the team is already working on the next region.
The game is not launching with the region that I would consider the home of the Collector, but we have people working on that type of stuff right now. And I think once that goes in, that'll let the Collector really show that it's not just a monster that exists to chase the player, it's more of a creature with its own agenda that the player just happens to cross paths with.
And that's actually true. As of right now, the Collector Leviathan mostly act as a placeholder encounter in the trench. Unlike Reaper Leviathan, the Collector is completely unavoidable. It's always in your way and you are almost guaranteed to run into it. It seems to exist mainly to discourage players from building bases in the trench. Likely because the trench itself is unfinished and is expected to be reworked into a completely new region called Sparse Plains. So now you may think Sparse Plains is the new region that will host Collector Leviathan as its natural habitat, but I still don't think that's the case. The trench or soon to be Sparse Plains only goes down to around 250 meters deep. And if you have read the PDA, you will know that the Collector isn't meant for shallow waters. It's a creature that exhibits abyssal gigantism, a phenomenon commonly found in creatures that inhabit the deep ocean. And if that's the case, then its actual habitat is most likely located far below the depth we can currently explore. Something the original trailers were always pointing toward it. In the original teaser, we see a player getting pulled by a strong current into a giant hole leading down into a dark abyss, only to encounter Collector Leviathan there. And once again, at the end of the gameplay teaser, we see a Collector Leviathan placed just outside Sleep Bay 3, which is interestingly located deep below this giant sinkhole in the game, close to our life pod. So I don't think it's a coincidence that both trailers bring us back to a giant sinkhole with a Collector Leviathan beneath it. And if you think that's all, there's more. From the lore side of the game, we also know that Sleep Bay 3 was originally connected to the Welcome Center, which is located right next to the sinkhole, before it suddenly disappeared into the depths.
This structure was connected to Sleep Bay 3 until the bay suddenly moved. Picked up and hurled a full fathom into the deep, with you and I aboard.
And now if you go back to Sleep Bay 3, there's a few details that stand out. In between the ominous background music, we can occasionally hear what sounds like distant Leviathan roars. And we can also see a massive scratch marks carved into the surrounding rock walls. Now, none of this directly confirms anything, but when you combine the PDA entry, the trailer's footage, and the lore surrounding Sleep Bay 3, they all seems to be pointing toward the same conclusion, that the giant sinkhole just south of our life pod is the very same sinkhole we have seen repeatedly in the trailers. The same sinkhole that leads us down to Sleep Bay 3, then into the deepest part of the map and likely toward the Collector Leviathan itself. But unfortunately, because the game is still in early access, the sinkhole is currently capped off around 750 meters, meaning you can't get past everyone's favorite angry face guy, because he is probably hiding something behind him, an entirely new reason. One that he doesn't want you to go there, at least not yet. Jokes aside, I believe this is likely where the map will expand further with the next major update, opening into an entirely new region, a region deep enough to host Collector Leviathan. So now that we have established where the new region is most likely to be, the next question becomes, how deep it will be, what shape it will take, and which direction it may expand further. When it comes to the depth of this region, the first clue is the Collector Leviathan itself. The creature is absolutely massive. From the tip of its head to the very end of its tentacle, it's roughly 110 meters long. And if this region is truly meant to be its natural habitat, then it needs enough room for a creature of that size to move around comfortably. So I wouldn't be surprised if the area beneath the sinkhole extend another 300 to 400 meters beyond the current limit, reaching depth of around 1000 meters, perhaps even deeper. And as for the overall shape and which direction it expands, let's take a look at the map itself. Out of the two major regions we currently have, the Coral Gardens gives us a good idea of how large this new region could be, with the main difference being the most, if not all of it, may exist deep below the surface. A good portion of the region will probably still sit directly beneath the sinkhole itself, but beyond that I could see it expanding toward the south or southeast side of the map. Because of this little area here called South Raceway, or may I call it the graveyard of coral crabs. As the name suggests, this area is littered with the remains of coral crab leviathans. Not only that, it is also adjacent to the only living great jaw leviathan currently found in the game, which is coincidentally both of these creatures are known prey of the Collector Leviathan. To me that doesn't feel random, it feels like we are already looking at the parts of the Collector's hunting ground. Plus the area below the great jaw is interestingly covered with the same gooey tar-like substance as the most of the trench, which is probably just a temporary barrier currently blocking off future cave entrances. So the bottom of the great jaw could be an opening to the region. This all makes me think that the new region is most likely to exist near or south of the South Raceway and the Great Jaw, although most of it will most likely to exist underground. Now the only counterpoint to this theory is the clam graveyard currently found in the trench, which I wouldn't worry much considering the trench itself is still unfinished and expected to be reworked into sparse plains. And I wouldn't be surprised if they move clam graveyard closer to South Raceway and the living Great Jaw in a future update. And if that wasn't enough, we also have this googly eye clam easter egg sitting at the southeast edge of the map, which only adds more weight to this theory. It's actually funny how both of the game's well-known easter eggs happen to be located right where I think this expansion might take place. But who knows, maybe the developer have been subtly pointing us in this direction all along. And if this turn out to be true, then sadly we will probably lose both easter eggs once the region arrives. I guess that's just one of the perks of experiencing the game in early access. Now the new region isn't just about the Collector Leviathan. It's going to have its own biome, strange creatures, unique resources and probably a few surprises as well. But before we continue, we are entering into a pure speculation territory. There isn't a whole lot to go on from this point forward, but I do think there are few clues that can help us make an educated guess. So let's have a little fun and see what else we can piece together. Starting with biomes, we already know each major region is made up of multiple biomes. The Coral Garden region consists of several smaller biomes, while the Karakoram region is made up of 4 much larger biomes. So at the very least, I could easily see the new region having 4 major biomes of its own. And if we look back at the cave regions from the original Subnautica, we can get a rough idea of what this new region might look like. First, I think we will have some kind of cave entrance biome near the trench or South Raceway area, a transitional area that slowly leads us deeper underground, similar to the entrance for the Lost River, near Lifeport 6 or 9, I don't know which one, the one with the CTOU. Either way, the idea is the same, a passage connecting the surface biome to the deepest part of the map. This would make sense as one of the places where Collector comes to hunt coral crabs and great jaw leviathans. Then I think we will have some kind of a safe biome. Every major region in the game currently has an area that's relatively calm and suitable for the base building, so I wouldn't be surprised if the same happened here. Now don't get me wrong, I still think the Collector will be able to roam through most of the region, but there may be certain landmarks, cave system or blind spots where encounters are less frequent, giving us a place to safely set up a base. This is also where I imagine we will start seeing some of the region's native wildlife, including a few creatures that we already know about but haven't actually seen in the game yet. Next, as we venture a little deeper into the region, I think we will eventually reach the biome that hosts this mysterious creature teased in the devlog. Whether that's around an angel comb or a cicada wreck or something entirely new, this is likely where things start to become more dangerous. And if I had to guess, this might also be where we first find the fragments for the sea frog or the bullfrog chassis, the prawn suit equivalent chassis for our tadpole. So now it's time to get stompy for the final main biome in the region, the Collector's home biome. This is where the creature spends most of its time and where we will probably be running into it more often than usual. If the entrance biome is its hunting ground, then this is its nest. A place where every trip feels dangerous and where simply staying alive becomes part of the challenge. And as I talked before, I think this biome will be located directly beneath the sinkhole. From the story or lore side of it, I wouldn't be surprised if we find destroyed cicada wrecks, old bases and even parts of Sleep Bay 3 scattered throughout the Collector nest. After all, the Collector is known to gather wreckage and anything else that catches its interest. And if we were lucky, this could also be where we find fragments for the Trident somewhere in the Cyclops of Subnautica 2. In a way, it would mirror the original Subnautica gameplay loop, where the players have to go behind the Aurora to scan Cyclops fragment, all while risking their life getting jumped by the Reaper Leviathan. Now moving on to the creatures, aside from the Collector Leviathan and the creature teased in the devlog, I think we are also going to see a few creatures that we have already seen in the trailers, screenshots and other promotional materials, but are still around in the games. Let's just start with the obvious one, the Leer. Where the hell is this creature? It's nowhere to be found in the current build, which is interesting because it was one of the few creatures shown in the very first teaser trailer of the game. And not only that, we keep seeing it show up in the devlog videos, trailers and even seen in the development arts from the Pioneer program packages. So clearly the developers haven't forgotten about it. And if that's the case, then the next region seems like the perfect place to finally introduce it. Now same as Leer, we have Quadrat, a carnivorous relative of Geordie first revealed in the Pioneers program's development arts. Just like the Leer, this fish isn't currently in the game, but surprisingly the Subnautica 2 wiki already has a PDA entry for it. And based on that description, the Quadrat sounds a lot more like the Bleeder from the original Subnautica game. So if this creature does arrive with the next region, I have a feeling it's going to be a pretty annoying thing to deal with. Next up we have these bioluminescent jelly creatures, seen in the background of the roadmap image, as well as in this amazing artwork. They look like a cave relative of the surge jelly, adapted to life in the darkness with brighter bioluminescent. Now this one might be a stretch, but we may be looking at a new creature here on the loading screen. I think it's going to be a dead skeleton looking variant of the half moon, kinda like a spinefish and hoopfish from the first game. So who knows, maybe we will see this creature in the game. Now back to the mysterious creature teased in the devlog. This creature seems to fall into the same alpha predator category as the Marrow Breach, Niddler Mango and Twin Citare. And by the looks of it, some of the patterns on its body actually remind me of the Marrow Breach. So maybe we are looking at some kind of abyssal relative of it. And then there is the fact that it doesn't appear to have any visible eyes, which if true would make a lot of sense for a creature living deep underground in a dark cave environment. Now moving on to the creatures that are already in the game. Back in the starting area, if you looked around a little, you may have noticed this fish swimming around by itself. Maybe it's simply a bug because there is only seems to be one of them swimming around in the entire area. But if it's not, then we will be seeing more of them in the new region as well. The Subnautica 2 wiki refers to them as the Pelagic Ghost, can already be found in the Karakaram region near the power plant biome, although it still can't be scanned yet. Now let's move to the Leviathan in the room, the Collector Leviathan. As of right now, we haven't really seen much of its sexual behavior. At the moment, it mostly acts like a traditional Leviathan, whose job is to keep players away from the unfinished trench. But if you actually look at its design, it feels like there's clearly more going on. Just look at its tentacles. It has 4 of them, 2 finger-like tentacles that seems designed for grabbing, and 2 spear-like tentacles that looks perfect for breaking open hardened cells. Yet right now it only uses a single grabbing tentacles to catch the player or fling the tadpole away. The other 3 barely do anything. So why even give it those features in the first place? To me that suggests we are going to see a much more advanced version of the Collector. Its AI behavior is probably going to change drastically. And it's not just me saying that, one of the developers actually mentioned that he wants the Collector to feel like something enormous and intelligent, a creature that plays with the player like a weird bug, pulling you out of your base, trapping you somewhere and dropping things on you. And honestly, that's exactly what the Collector should do. Also, according to its PDA entry, the creature collects titanium, large wrecks and pretty much anything else that catches its interest. And if that's true, then small submarines, player-built habitats and even vehicles should be some of the most interesting thing it can grab. Plus, I could easily see the Collector grabbing multiple players at once with those tentacles, and can use those spear-like tentacles to crack open the tadpole before pulling the player out. In fact, that's an idea I even suggested on the note. Now let's move on to the things like new resources and tools. Without a doubt, the next major resource we are probably going to see is Diamond. And with that, we will be finally able to unlock the only missing tool, the laser cutter. And considering how many wrecks, destroyed habitat and other structure I expect to find in this region, it feels like the perfect place to introduce it. Besides Diamond, we may also get resources like magnetite, aluminium, mercury and even more. And maybe even a few completely new materials as well. And as for the storyline, I actually don't think we are going to continue with the tree and exam storyline. Instead, I think we will follow a side storyline focused more on Cicada, Sleep Bay 3 and maybe other kinds of wrecks. So yeah, that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about. This has easily been the most ambitious video I have made so far. And yeah, you can probably tell that my English is still not that perfect, but I definitely feel more comfortable and confident to speak now. I still have a lot to learn, both when it comes to speaking English and making editing as well. So hopefully the next one will be even better. But anyway, that's it for today. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.